all right, everyone. You know what time it is. It is from the margin, dear friend James Auffant, local attorney extraordinaire, Democratic political, a great guy all around. Jimmy, how are you, sir?
It's a great week. It's a great time, other than what's happening with our economy, which is so fucked up because lack of planning and lack of intelligence. Uh, and for those of you who say what lack of planning is, well, this happened in the 80s with Reagan when he tried to invade also and threatened. And basically, the stretch of Hamas became a problem. And basically, they started to realize back then they don't have the forces to go all the way up to Tehran and be able to take it over. So they might have a problem. So there was no planning. There was no exit plan. It was just uh, Israel was going to go in and do it, and well, let's do it with them. And this is going to be fun. We're going to take them out in 48 hours, and they're going to surrender, and we're going to look like heroes. Well, that didn't happen. But other than we're paying 90 cents more a gallon, everything is good.
Jimmy, there has been talk, at least on my feeds, about Iran being the last vestige of the globalist chessboard, so to speak, that having Iran run by this regime continues the international threat that the Iranians pose, or at least the regime poses to the Middle East, to Israel, to the United States, so forth and so on. So it keeps us perpetually at war, and it keeps us focused away from other things that could be accomplished, like having some type of understanding or agreement with our other competitors and perceived foes like China and Russia. Do you think that Iran has been this country, this situation that has kept America forever anxious, forever at war, and away from progressing with other countries like China and Russia?
No, I think it's Israel who has a fixation because, yes, Israel and Iran are enemies. Let's not try
Hmm.
to pretend that they're not. Uh,
Hmm.
how how has that? Now let me establish what I'm trying to say. Prior to us invading Iran, price of gasoline was less than $3. Now it's close to four. Prior to us invading Iran, yeah, Iran has some issues in Africa and maybe and next with Israel, but really with us attacking us, no, was their control over the stretch, the thing that it is now? Yes. Was oil flowing through there? Well, as Qatar, as Bahrain, as Saudi Arabia, and as those other countries, Iraq and everybody else, the oil was flowing through there with no problem whatsoever. That it was going to China, well, somebody has to sell to China in a free market. If you're going to talk about globalism, a free market, if you offer to buy my product, should I just say no because you're China? No, you're paying the fair value for my product. I'll sell it to you. That is the thing that it is right now. What I think is that we have been focused on Iran instead of being focused on Russia, which is a threat, focus on North Korea, which is a threat, and China. We're not going to be able to go toe to toe with China. We know that. And some people think we cannot go toe to toe with Russia. So that's another issue. But here is where we need to be very, very, very careful. I think that one thing that happened this week that we don't want to do is show what people call fake news. This is what fake news really means. If you are the right, you believe what says News Nation says, what Fox News says, and what this other one that I can't remember says. If you're from the left, you're CNN and then now and ABC and NBC. CBS, I don't even know what they are anymore. They're so out there that I can't even tell. That is what where you get your news, and the proof was this week was very interesting. This week, they got interceded into a text sent to by the chief of staff of the White House to many people, and like always, it went to one that it shouldn't have not gone to, but it went there. And basically, what says, "Hey, we're in good shape. Our people are doing what they were supposed to do. They were told immediately they're attacking Joe Kent, and they're proving that he's not a reliable source, and what he's saying is a lie. And we have Hannity on board, and we have these other people on board, and we are going to discredit him." And basically, if you turn down News Nation, you turn down, oh, those are truly correct. They attacked Joe Kent. If you went to MS Now, or you went to CNN, or you went to the other news stations, John Kent made a statement, and it was reported as he said it. And this was a very interesting statement that he said, because you could call him whatever you want. He is a MAGA person. He is a truly MAGA person who's been a MAGA person, and that's why he was appointed. The president, when he appointed us, said there was no better person qualified to do this intelligence. This man lost his wife in the Syria war and is a veteran of war. So it's kind of interesting the way they have attacked him. But he said something that we know the administration did not like, and was ordered the destruction of him in a text. And it's kind of interesting because just like the first thing that went out from the Department of Defense, and there was a newspaper person in there by mistake, this text, there was a newspaper person by mistake who received it, which made it public because it was addressed to him. So, yes, basically she said that they had already been ordered and they were attacking him. Look, fake news is, if it's the other side, it's fake. If it's my side, it's true. And that's what this country has reached. But the enemy right now is not that. But I'm going to bring what I call down the line, the surprise of the week, of which the press is not really fully covered.
Okay.
That could be huge. Could be and could be nothing. We never know. But going back to this, it is going to be an interesting thing. But why don't we start talking about the primary seasons that are opening? We're in March.
Okay.
By June, most states you have to qualify, and
That's
most
right.
primaries are going to be in August in the whole United States. And Florida is interesting because realistically, as of now, Moody does not have a serious candidate running against her. She doesn't. Where it's going to be interesting is it going to be DeSantis' puppet, Collins, or is it going to be Trump's puppet, Thompson? It's going to be a good question there, because those are two people primarily who are running.
Right.
That's going to be interesting. How much money is going to be spent on this? And realistically, look, the Democrat Party is so fucked up here that they couldn't run somebody statewide and get a candidate run. The only way it could happen is if the candidate is a billionaire and runs himself, or if for some reason people feel sorry for that person, like they did with Fetterman, and they elect him. That other than that, the Democrats are so disorganized in this state and so fucked up that if you're going to run and say, "Hey, I need the party's help," you're fucked. You're going to have to do it on your own. Otherwise, that. The other thing that is interesting is that I have not heard anything from Deming's campaign at all.
You just took the words out of my mouth, Jimmy. I was about to mention Demings. Where are you?
I don't know.
It's, I get my feed and through Jay in Washington, the official account, and get information from everyone. Regardless of the political affiliation. If you got something important to say or something interesting to say, okay, we're going to add you to our feed.
Oh, and they do. Don't leave that one out.
Right. Exactly. But however, Jimmy, nothing from the Demings camp.
No, I agree. Nothing. But then again, There's another camp here in town that I've heard nothing, and I'm wondering, are you still running?
And who's that?
Stephanie Murphy. Have you heard anything from her campaign?
I hear she's walking in the Dragon Day parade, St. Patrick's Day festivities.
Well, those
Otherwise,
passed already, and I didn't hear that she was there. But
I
still, going where people are drinking or celebrating is good to be seen. But I'm not sure. And I'll give you what I'm trying to say.
sure.
Winter Park Festival is this weekend,
Okay.
right?
Yes. Okay. Wow.
Half of the people in the Winter Park Art Festival do not live in Orange County. They
Right.
come from other counties. They come from Seminole. They come from Osceola.
Mhm.
They come from Lake because they want to see. It's a beautiful thing. The food is great, and so going there and say, "Hey, hi, I'm running." Half of the people you could be saying hi to can't vote for you. So
You're
that's
right.
that's what I'm trying to say. It is an interesting thing, and that's why as an advisor, people say, "Are you going to an event there's going to be a lot of people?" Yes, but how much of those people don't
Can vote. That's
well,
right.
they can vote, but not for you because they live out of the district
That's
or
right.
out of the county. I never forget that I was with Alan Grayson, and Alan Grayson's approached somebody and talked to them, and after 10 minutes realized that this was one of the artists who had taken a break, left his wife at his booth, and was going out to look at other booths and talk to Alan Grayson, and realized that this person lived in Vermont. That's what I'm trying to get when people say, "Oh, I'm
Right.
going to go to this event." Well, yes, not everybody in that event might live in Orange County.
Right. I've cautioned candidates going to, say, Lake Eola, which is very popular, to collect petitions for countywide races or district races when it allows four candidates to collect countywide, because
Like
the
now,
same exact same reason, Jimmy. There are so many people from other areas, even from out of state, that come to Lake Eola, and they're unable to really. They're not qualified. They're to sign a petition for a local race. And I said, just stay in your district, or go to the neighborhoods that where people live, and collect your petitions there. But you make a very good point. A
I'll go a
very good.
step further. If you're talking primaries, get your supervisor of elections uh, list and work your super voters, because those are the ones who probably can show. The new voters, maybe 20% of those new voters will become super voters down the line, so they might vote for the first time there.
Right.
Yes, but still, but you hit the super voters for primaries. General
Yep.
elections, that's a different story, because if it's not a presidential election, the turnout is still low than in a presidential election. So then you go and look. Oh, these are the people who vote during the governor's races. Bingo. I'm going to touch and talk to them.
Right.
But I have not seen, other than people gathering petitions, which I have helped, and I'm going to give full disclosure that I have helped, and I'm helping two candidates. Well, really, I'm helping one. The other one I'm supposed to help, but has not really approached me. Uh, but it is a matter of how you work this out, and it's a matter of how you dedicate yourself to it. But look, I recently I got involved with uh, an election. I kept on, don't do this, and they went and they did it anyway. And it's similar to your experience that you had with one of your candidates that thought that Facebook counted for something. No,
Yes. Oh, I remember.
okay. Uh, So, all these people tell me they like me. Well, can they vote? Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. So, yeah. Or will they vote? It's not only can they, will they? Because there's a lot of people who can vote in this country who opt not to. Let's call it the way it is. So, yeah.
Right. Jimmy, we've had primaries already in Texas, in Illinois, and on the Democrat side, it appears, and we can look at Texas and more recently, this past Tuesday, um, Illinois, the progressives didn't do too well. They didn't fare too well. And it's more the moderate or maybe centralist Democrats, or more of the establishment Democrats who won their primaries, particularly in Illinois, where you had the lieutenant governor, for instance, Stratton, win her primary against several candidates across the Democratic.
You're right, and she,
Like,
and in my opinion, of all three, she was the most progressive.
really? And see, I thought
She
Kelly
she
was.
stick to the abolish ICE in her campaign.
Okay.
She stick at 25,000 hours out minimum,
Okay. Right.
and
Right.
she made an issue, which is very progressive, that she would never vote for Chuck Schumer.
Okay, okay. That's a very good point. A very
If
good
that's
point.
not progressive, I don't know what is. But
Right.
the truth of the matter, she got the support of the governor, and her
And I guess
back
when I
is
look at
back.
Raja and Kelly, it seemed, well, at least Kelly, she was a lot more vocal, angry, progressive than the other two candidates. And maybe Raja was more of the um, moderate, so to speak, but still, liberal.
$25 an hour minimum salary. I'm not sure if people in the country would call that moderate. Maybe in Illinois, that's moderate.
Yeah.
And outside, I don't think so. And a candidate who just got elected to run for the U.S. Senate that's saying abolish ICE, maybe in Illinois, that's not considered progressive, but the rest of the nation, I would say yes. That, that's
Yeah.
why I say
Okay.
that politics are local.
That's true. That's true. Yes, always. I've always believed that, and I wasn't too sure about her position on ice. I know that Kelly was more aggressive, if I recall correctly. But with JB Prisker, Governor Prisker behind Stratton, giving her support, it was a good day for her. Despite getting in after Raja and all the money that he spent. Um, she was able to get 40% of the vote, so good for her.
Yeah, and I look, politics are local, and
Yeah.
you know, maybe if you come to Florida with that campaign, you won't succeed. I agree. You might win a primary, and it's like with Republicans. I I have my nose up Trump's ass, and whatever he says I'll do, that will win you a primary. Might not win you a general election, but it will win you a primary. What's funny is that I've had four people tell me that there's a commercial running in West Palm Beach,
Okay.
and the commercial is for Mr. Paxton.
Paxton.
Yeah,
Paxton is all the way over in Texas.
right.
What? Oh, wait.
You know
Oh,
what?
I hate to ask what the theme of that commercial's about. I mean,
How he
it,
will be extremely supportive of Trump. He would eliminate the filibuster. He will vote for the Save Act. He will vote for anything and everything that Donald Trump has for him. That's for an audience of one.
what is that, Jimmy?
Donald Trump. But where's Largo Mago? Mago in Palm Beach?
Yeah,
That's for an audience of one. He knows
okay.
that the president is fixated to TV, local, and he got his commercials there.
That
Just so the
is
president can see it.
so wild. I mean, I personally, professionally, I would never have thought about that. As a matter of fact, what I would have thought of is sending digital impressions straight to his phone and all the devices at Mar-a-Lago. That's what I would do because it's probably more effective in my opinion. But however, you know, it, I'm so lost. I'm so flustered with that race. Trump did tell Paxton and Corin, one of you decide to get out of the race, and so that I can, give that person who's still in the race my full throated, wholehearted,
You're not,
endorsement.
look, and that's what bothers me. That's such a crock of shit. He knows that neither of them are going to drop out. Now, if he endorses the other, that might force the other one to drop out. Yes, but I don't see
Right.
that happening. I really don't see that happening at all. It's really a matter of, and I'm not sure how weak the whoever survives that primary is going to be the other. And
Talarico.
and if you're going to talk about Texas, the Tellerico is very centered, and
Right.
he get out votes from Republicans, so he might be the person who might throw them off their race. Uh, Look, mathematically, I don't see either party passing from 52. I really don't.
Sure.
And I'm not sure which or the other. I mean, right now, North Carolina, the ex-governor who's a Democrat who's running, he has a great chance because he's very popular in the state and they like him. And Republicans have voted for him for years. And the crazy guy that's running as a Republican might not get it. Uh,
Right.
and that would change one. But here in Florida, I don't see Mooney losing to either the two candidates that are running. And I don't see any. And by the way, I don't see any changes even in Georgia. I think Georgia also is going to win. Simply said, but it going that far, no. But it's going to be an interesting day.
Jimmy, going back to why Paxton had ads running in West Palm Beach, my first inclination was that of the large Jewish demographic on the coast there, on in West Palm Beach, and so forth and so on, and with so much attention on the on America's support for Israel, that it was an attempt by Paxson to say, "Hey, I'm an ally of yours. Um, I need for you to support me, and I'm making the direct, plea to you." I know APEC played a huge role in many of these races, whether it's New York to Illinois, and so that was my first inclination, particularly with, the war going on.
Well, no, he doesn't care about that. Is not his concern. He look, the Jewish people will give him money, and that would be nice. But what he's looking for is Donald Trump's endorsement. That's what
Mhm.
he's looking for. Look, to say that his opposition is anti-Israel is not true. He, like most U.S. senators, are pro-Israel, and that is a statement. I cannot think of one senator who's anti-Israel, anti-Netanyahu. Now that's another issue.
Sure, that's another issue. Yeah,
That's
right.
like, and let me explain to you in very simple terms. I'm a very proud American, but I do
Hmm.
not support Donald Trump. One thing has nothing to do with the other.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people in Israel who are very proud to be from Israel, but who do not support Netanyahu. As a matter of fact, he has a government of coalition, which means he's some votes from here. So he never even got the majority. He just worked out
Right.
a coalition that allowed him to be prime minister. So let's stop thinking that one thing is the other. The president, the prime minister of a country is not the country. It's an office that directs that country, and I respect that. But being anti-Trump is not being anti-American, and being anti-Biden is not being anti-American either, for that matter. So that's a democracy. I don't
Right.
like you. I love my country, but I don't like you. That is a pure democracy. But for some reason, yes. If you tell me, is there anybody in the U.S. Congress or Senate who's anti-Israel? No. Who do not agree with Netanyahu? Many. But that's a but no, I don't think that Paxson had anything to do with that population at all, because basically that population is more Trump than any member of the Congress or the Senate.
Right. Jimmy, with going back to the Florida Democrats, I read an article um, about the Democrats' affordability or affordable agenda. And they had many, many issues to talk about making life more affordable for average, everyday Floridians from what is it, property tax relief to tax relief in general. To discussing also more county or local control over what happens in counties. Um, However, I believe only one bill may have made it out of committee out of the many, many dozens of bills that were offered by the Democrats. For Democrats heading into the primary season now here in Florida, for those races that are deemed competitive by us politicals, what can the Democrats offer to constituents when they're in the minority? And as you were talking about earlier about the Democrats and their ineffectiveness, what can they offer if we're going to see much of the same in the next administration, in the next legislature? The possibility of that.
Let me divide this. The Florida Democratic Party is a screw up. There are some very good local Democratic parties. Some are not. Some have the funds, some don't. What can they offer? Basically, what they could offer is to put up a good fight. Because realistically, we have decided to give this to one party division. With the redistricting, it's going to be even worse. And we're not going to even have that many members in Congress to represent us. So basically, at this point, all we could offer is a good fight and to disclose information that people need to know of corruption. Like, for example, did anybody read the first page of the Sentinel today? Well, the Sentinel is telling us that the state of Florida is being investigated under Ron DeSantis for Medicaid fraud. Okay? Medicaid.
Wow, Jimmy.
This state.
Fraud.
This state. Not an agency. And for those of you who don't remember, Medicaid has a history here. Our dear Senator Scott took $1 billion of Medicaid and overcharged him and had to refund it, and then left with $600 million as a payout to kick him out of the hospital that he was the director, and that's what he used to become governor and later senator of this great state. So it's not something new. Part of the $10 million of Hope scandal was that the hospital took the money from Medicaid, paid $10 million to Hope, which is a program run by DeSantis' wife, in exchange of refunding that money that is stole to the state of Florida. Look, the truth of the matter is that this is one of the most corrupt governments that we've had in a long time. That's what they should be doing. Hey, let's talk about Hope. There's a lot of scandal there. There's a lot of money that's been stolen. Hey, let's talk about why Mooney is a U.S. senator. We took her out of Attorney General. We appointed an incompetent attorney. An incompetent attorney. We say, hey, you're going to be now the Attorney General, and you're going to threaten the people in the state with all this bullshit, which, by the way, we're a year later, and they haven't found or filed one piece of paper. Neither has the Attorney General nor the person in charge of the finances in the state. They went out and charged Orlando and Orange County with all this bullshit. And everybody's, oh, this is something serious. Yeah. No, it's not. This is bullshit. Because they haven't filed a piece of paper. They have not said what they have done wrong. They have not said, hey, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. No. We just went out with innuendos and we throw your reputation. Right now, they're looking for a way. They're looking for a way to punish Orange County for not what you call it, changing the permission. So a warehouse where it was no persons to be there, it was only merchandise. That was what it was licensed for. To change it for having people in there, and they said no, we're not going to do that change. We're not going, and that is the prerogative of the county. And the state is still looking how, but they're such imbeciles that they'll never figure it out. This is what we're facing. What they should be doing, showing the fraud, showing how the Collins is nothing more than a puppet for DeSantis, showing that the Attorney General is nothing more than a puppet for DeSantis, and showing that right now it's going to end up in a major fuck up because my expectation is a little bit different than most people. I think that the candidate for governor is going to be Donald Trump, but then the chief financial, the attorney general, and the secretary of agriculture are going to be the DeSantis person. And you're going to have a cabinet. Hopefully, that is what they need to do. They need to show all the fraud. Right now, they should be talking about how does the new DEI law help your finances? How it helps you be able to pay for eggs, for anything else? How have they done anything that significantly has reduced your cost of living? Because as of today, there's no budget. There's still no budget.
That's right.
Okay, so we cannot talk about what they're doing to help your pocket when we don't even know what the budget is. Oh, we're going to be doing redistricting. Well, wait a minute. Today's what? The 19th? Tomorrow they're closed because tomorrow they'll be back on the 23rd. Good luck. I'm not sure what you're going to be able to do. Okay, but you think you could do something. Okay, so let's do this and go in there and talk about what is going to be done. This is what you should be doing. Showing that they've done nothing, showing where they have failed. Yeah. Look, we still have a crisis here with our homeowners insurance. Yes.
Right.
Have they done anything? No. Is there any project of law for that? So it's more important to pass a DEI law than it is to pass a law to help us with home insurance. It's more important to pass a law taking away control from the counties in different areas than it is to give us some relief in our property taxes. It is also more important to pass laws to open alligator Alcatraz, which, by the way, we ended up with the bill because the feds pulled out and said, screw you, that's your problem, Florida. And it's not even being used for a prison or anything, but we're paying the bill.
Right.
That they're not explaining. This is what Democrats should be explaining. The failures of the Republicans in the state. But they're not that well organized, and the party does. I'm going to ask you, who is the spokesperson for the Florida Democratic Party?
The spokesperson for the Florida Democratic Party is Donald Trump.
Thank you.
It may sound funny, however, it's true, Jimmy, because I was just thinking exactly what you were saying. Like, why are the Democrats not putting out ads on social media, on the internet, on television, on radio, and saying we just ended a legislative session that they believe helped billionaires and businesses and not Joe and Jane citizen. And I don't see it in my feeds, in my social media feeds. I saw one article in a online blog about the Democrats expressing their frustration that none of their priorities, none of their bills saw the light of day. And that was it. You had some glum faces, the usual suspects.
What's even worse, that they couldn't stop the bills that the Republicans were putting out that hurt us.
Exactly. Yep.
Look, in that part, I agree with you. I had somebody tell me, an elected official, and I'm going to paraphrase this, but I think I'm pretty close. Hey, we don't have to discuss affordability. When people go pick up that thing to put gasoline in their tank, that's our best publicity that we could get. We don't have to mention it. When they go into the store and everything's more expensive, we don't have to talk about it because it is there. Plus, there is one thing that we do know. Whoever is winning the primaries might be debatable, but that there are more Democrats voting in primaries than Republicans is not. That if you're going to say, hey, who are the people who are really inspired to go out to vote? Democrats, not Republicans. Who are the people who right now are divided? Republicans. Look, we don't discuss this, but I'm going to start it right now. Do you really? I have a question for all of you. Do you think this war in Iran has caused a division in the Republican Party? Because if you think that all Republicans are pro-Israel, you might have another thing coming. If you think that all Republicans who voted and MAGA who voted for the president are okay with one war going on and another one about to start, that they're okay with that, you don't know the Republican Party.
I have to push back on that, Jimmy, because it keeps popping up in my face. I believe it was CNN did a poll of MAGA Republicans, and 100% of them are still with Trump. 100%. I was like, get out of here. And I double checked, and that was true. I say, okay, so MAGA is still with Trump.
Okay, so
there's a whole demographic of Republicans who are not.
Carson is an isolated person. Joe Kent is an isolated person, and all those Ray Rogan, who's against the war, is against it, and all those other podcasters who are against the war are. Look, to be quite honest, even Ron Paul is not in favor of this war, and that should tell you something. It is causing a division, and it's going to cause more division once they try to initiate the second war they're about to initiate. So it's going to be an interesting thing as how is this going to. But most important, right now, talking about affordability, I think is an issue. What you should be talking about more than anything else is how you could buy Donald Trump and his corruption, how you could buy the people and his party's corruption, how you could say to him, hey, why are we in Iran? Can you explain to us? Oh, they had an enriched thing. But you told me 2 months ago that you destroyed that. You told me 2 months before that that was eliminated. And by the way, yesterday, Tulsi had the most horrible time in her life. She has submitted reports to the House and to the Senate saying that Iran did not represent a threat to the United States. Okay? To Israel was another issue, but that as intelligence, that it did not represent a direct or imminent a threat to the U.S. And as much as they tried to hit Joe, the one area they couldn't hit Joe, Ken, was did he know what he was doing? No. He knew what he was doing. That's why we appointed him. Was he? But he was kind of radical because he was. And again, is the thing is, if you're against what Netanyahu is doing, they will try to call you anti-Semitic. They will try to call you anti-Israel. No. You could be against the leaders of a country, and I'll give you an example. Very drastic one. Extremely drastic. Everybody's against the regime of Iran, but not against the people of Iran. Everybody thinks that the regime of Iran needs to disappear and that these people who are the leadership need to die, but not the people of Iran. It is something that the leadership could be bad, but you can still love the country. And this is what I'm trying to tell you all. It is not about anti-Semite or beef, but for those people who think that Netanyahu is wrong, there's a lot of them even in Israel. Okay? There's a lot of people in Israel who have made manifestations against him. And that's again why a lot of people will say fake news, because those things are not really fully covered. Just like when I'm about to mention what I've been saying 3 times already, a second war, which I think I should start now because we're getting close to the end. This is the news that has been very lightly covered. Uh, David, do you know what happened today in Havana?
In Nevada?
No, Havana, Cuba.
Oh, I know there have been several blackouts. I know there's been talk of a ferry between Miami and Havana. However, I do not know what happened here in
Okay,
it happened in Cuba today.
okay. See if you could Google what right that there while I'm talking about this. What
Okay.
happened and who arrived this morning in Havana?
Uh-oh. Someone arrived in.
Well, no,
Uh-oh.
someone know some things.
Some things. Okay, let's check it out.
For those of you who do not know this, it's been reported that the Russia government, Putin, was going to be sending 2 boats full of petroleum to his ally, Cuba. Okay. This morning, Cuba arrived one of the most modern battleships from Russia, a Russia nuclear submarine, and 2 other ships. The
Mm.
purpose of those ships being in Cuba is to interfere if the U.S. tries to stop the 2 tankers that are coming from Russia with petroleum to Cuba. They consider Cuba an ally. They consider Cuba a friend. That would provoke the embargo that we have, and that might be a direct confrontation between the U.S. and Russia. Everything that he's doing is doing to distract the war in Ukraine. I understand, just like Trump is doing this to distract the Epstein files. You found it already?
I haven't found it yet, Jimmy. I did see a tanker. It was reported that a tanker came to Cuba, but I'm seeing about the blackouts. I'm seeing that the Cuban president says that talks were recently held with the U.S. to resolve differences. That Cuba is set to release dozens of inmates after Pope Leo spoke with them. Um, but as far as Putin, um, and
No.
maybe it's because they're trying to limit the actual news coming out. But
Put down Havana 21 Cannon Salute to see what comes up.
Havana and who?
21 Cannon Salute.
Havana. '21 Cannon
Salute.
Salute. Russian frigate receives 21 gun salute as it enters Havana harbor. 21 gun salute in Havana in honor of Castro. So, a 21 cannon salute in Havana is a high level military honor typically performed at the San Carlos de la Cabana fortress to mark major state occasions, such as the anniversary of the triumph of the revolution or the death of a leader. So, someone received a salute.
And that
But
was a Russian frigate? That's an interesting way of putting it. It's a warship.
exactly, they talk about the Russian frigate. Oh, wait a second, Jimmy. That was back in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, it's not, they are not reporting what you're
No, no,
talking
no.
about.
That's what I'm trying to say. They did that in 2024, and
Okay.
and they consider them friends. And it is no in the news that they're about to send 2 ships with petroleum to Cuba. I just want to see if they're going to stop them. How
Okay,
will
okay.
Russia react? Because Russia has been a friend of theirs. They have been associated. They've been talking to each other for some time. And
Correct.
basically, I just want to see. It is in the news that they're sending petroleum to Cuba. That is a given. I want to
Yes.
see if the U.S. is going to stop a Russian ship, and what would the consequences be of that?
Well,
Because Putin is not a stupid person. He's
well,
sending that ship there.
right.
He knows about the blockade. What's the consequence of that? That's going to be a good question.
A very good point, Jimmy. And I believe Trump did allow some sanctions on Russian oil to drop. So there it is. There it is.
Look, this is something that is going to be interesting. There's no plan to exit Iran. There is not
Mhm.
enough troops to land in Iran and go all the way up to Tehran. Uh, just like people said, is correct. The people uh, in Iran, the military are fanatics, and it's a religious fanatic. And I'm not criticizing that because we have enough religious fanatics in this country too. Those are Muslim. Ours here are Christian. So let's be respectful of both of them. But it's going to be an interesting thing once that ship full of petroleum coming from Russia arrives to Cuba. What is the U.S. going to do? Because that's a Russian ship.
Yeah.
Okay, entering into international water, saying, "Hey, I'm going there. Stop me if you can." If they hit it with with weapons, would that be considered by Russia an act of aggression and an act of war?
Right.
These are the things that have not been planned by the Trump administration. They went into Iran without the clear plan of exit. They didn't even read what happened in 1988 with, excuse me, 1884, excuse me, with Ronald Reagan. He went in there and he didn't realize that that they could control that little piece of land going around, and if they didn't like you, they could shoot you. They didn't. Just like he invaded Libya, he put the Marines right next to the airport, right there, and nobody thought that somebody in Libya would have the pants to fill a truck with dynamite and just run into and kill 241 soldiers. Look, planification is everything. And anybody who knows about the war with Iran knows that stretch is what has always given the strength. And the longer this war goes on and Iran is not completely defeated, guess who is defeated? So this is the problem. If you know, this is what concerns me about my country. If you
Okay.
are from the right, you're getting your news from your sources. If you're from the left, you're getting your news from your sources. And realistically, both of them tend to go their way. And they don't fully report what is not in their best interest. I cannot believe that I turned on uh, Fox News Tuesday night after John Kent's statement, anti-Semite, crazy. You appointed him as Deputy Secretary of National Security, but he's crazy. He didn't turn crazy Tuesday. Okay, crazy, anti-Semite, not a true MAGA person. Not. It was a stream of how can I slam this person? How can I badmouth him? How can I look? I don't agree with John Kent, but
Yeah.
that is what I call giving a message. There's people who believe that the U.S. was in imminent danger from Iran. They've never explained what. Oh, they had some uraniums, and they can make nuclear weapons. Israel has nuclear weapons. Pakistan has nuclear weapons. India has nuclear weapons. France has nuclear weapons. Germany has nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Great Britain has nuclear weapons. Canada
India,
has nuclear weapons.
Pakistan.
Russia has nuclear weapons. North Korea has nuclear weapons. And I could keep on going all afternoon.
Right.
Does that mean that we need to stop? Let me ask you, who are you more afraid of? North Korea or Iran?
Iran. I have to say Iran because they have the terrorist network.
Oh, you don't think that uh, North Korea does?
I don't think North Korea has the type of terrorist network that Iran has proven to have had. Hezbollah, Hamas, ISIS camps in Venezuela, for instance. They have sleeper cells that even our government has acknowledged that
Yes.
they,
No. Wait a minute, and let's clarify. They finance those groups. You're right.
yes,
They
yes,
finance.
yes.
The groups exist. They just finance them.
That
But
yes, thank you for the clarification. Yes, you're right.
that,
You're
that
right,
is correct.
Jimmy.
But they don't have nuclear weapons. But you know who does? North
North
Korea.
Korea.
That's where I'm afraid of. North Korea could throw 3 nuclear weapons on Japan and basically screw up the economy of the world. I'm going to say that
Right.
in a very simple word. Are they crazy enough to do it? Yeah.
I, I don't know, Jimmy. They Kim Jong Un, the supreme leader over there. I don't know. It I think he does a lot of a lot of talk or gives the impression that North Korea is ready to pop off, but something. They've got their own issues, and I truly believe that they want to
Oh,
come
yeah.
into
If
the
you're going to talk
modern
about a
world.
country that talks a lot but doesn't do that much, all Iran does is, oh, ISIS, you need $3 million for something. Yeah, I'll send you $3 million. Not a problem. And for the record, let's stop being hypocritical.
Okay.
So the South Arabia, they did it with the towers.
Yes.
Okay, so does Qatar. Okay, and for the matter, uh, there's a lot of not good things coming out right now of Iraq.
Okay.
And Lebanon, I have to agree with Israel. There's a lot of bad things coming out of Lebanon. I agree. Libya, I would have to agree. Yes, for that matter. But at the same time, is it only Iran? Is my question. No, it isn't.
No. No.
And if we take out Iran, is everything going to get back to hunky dory? No. Is it
Mhm.
going to get better? Well, it depends. I had a psychiatrist tell me, hey, the kid is doing better. I said, what do you mean he's doing better? Well, yesterday he banged his head against the wall 4 times. Today he only banged his head against the wall 3 times. He's getting better. Is that better? Yeah, it's better. Is it going to
Right.
be something that we can rely on? There's people
Right.
who joke that Saudi Arabia has nuclear weapons. I don't know if that's true. I know they
Right.
have the cash to buy one. That I do
Sure.
know. Okay, so yes. And do we have crazies out there? Yeah. Look, do we have a lot of people? But have they attacked the U.S. directly? No.
No.
They have attacked Israel, and I said that.
Yes.
So when you say we are an imminent danger, that's what I think Joe was trying to tell all of us. Look, I'm not going to say they're not attacking Israel. I'm not going to say that. But when you say that we, the United States of America, were in imminent danger from Iran, that they were going to directly attack us, that's what I think he was trying to say. And I think a lot of people lost that. That is where he's coming from. He's not trying to say that Iran was a good country, was a nice country, and things like that. What he was trying to say is we attacked them, and then we were told that we, the United States, were in imminent danger that Iran was going to attack us. Truth of the matter,
That
no.
that Iran was going to attack. We were at imminent risk in the homeland of an attack by Iran.
Yeah,
That's how I perceive Kent's comment.
we were not here. No. And by the way, For the record, those missiles that they shot on our troops, they've had those for years, but they didn't
Right.
shoot it until we shoot
Right.
back them. If you hit, my grandma said, if you go into a fight, get ready. You're going to hit, but you're going to get hit back.
All
So,
right. Yeah.
so when they say, "Oh, but they attacked us," well, we attacked them. So yeah,
It's gonna happen.
it's going to happen. So yeah,
Hey, Jimmy, let's get to some
comment.
comment. I have a couple.
Good.
And funny that you mentioned Joe Biden. I think you'll find this one curious. This is from Koba 301.
Koba,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
KOBA,
COBA.
COBA. Okay.
Yeah. And what Koba said, oil went down, it dropped. And this is in response to how the Iran conflict raises gas prices, it hits your wallet. And that was a short from last week. And he said, or Koba said, oil went down, it dropped 50 cents compared to Biden, $5 isn't even comparable. Response generated by emotions. Whoa.
With all due respect, you're right. You're being emotional about this, but also you're being misfactual about it. Look, there's no doubt that this war caused, and what I was saying, caused an added 90 cents a gallon right now. If
Yeah.
you want to go and play these games, well, but Biden was worse. That's kind of stupid. And I'm going to call you out. That's your best defense. That's no
Yeah.
defense. And to use the word that prices have gone down, yeah, they went down before the war. What I'm talking is specifically, the war caused them to increase. And if you can discuss that point and you try to go, well, but under Biden it was worse, you wanted me to go back? I could go back. Under Reagan, they were worse. Oh, but that's the 80s. Well, if you want to go back, let's go back. As a matter of fact, after 9/11, after 9/11, we all agreed to this. We all did this. When we attacked Iraq and when we attacked Afghanistan, the prices of oil went up. And we all were fine with that because they had attacked us. They did attack us. Let's stop pretending. Well, Iraq didn't. I understand. Before somebody said Iraq didn't attack us, you're right. It wasn't Iraq. It was Saudi Arabia. I agree. But we felt that we had to do something about it. We took it. This war, they did nothing to us, and they've been selling us a bag of bullshit that
Right.
we're in imminent danger. And even Tulsi could not yesterday in the U.S. Senate defend that. She just was, well, if he makes that decision, he's the president. I'm not saying that we're in imminent danger. He did. That's a very good cover. But to say that the prices are down compared to Biden, really? I was talking about now. I was not talking
Yeah.
about the past.
Uh,
I'm saying that as of the day that the war started, it went up 90 cents. That's undisputable. So,
Right.
yeah,
I agree with you. And thank you, Koba, for your comment on TikTok. I agree with you, Jimmy. Can people make their own arguments on the merits of this administration and not trying to bring up, a past administration? There's many arguments that people can make for or against what's happening here today with gas prices or the Trump administration. So I agree with you on that, Jimmy. I really do.
yeah.
Um, from YouTube, we have Rick 3140. And what Rick says, I can't believe the people of the United States are more concerned about gas prices than Trump has put the world so much closer to World War III. China is escalating its nuclear production and other countries as well. They claim they need that deterrent for any future attacks like Trump is illegally doing. Trump keeps talking about the rule of law, and it's just BS to them.
I can't say I disagree with much of that, but I do say this. You have a point We keep thinking that democracy is the next reason for war versus autocracy, or that is because of other reasons. One of the things that why I have always pushed for solar and alternative ways of power, it is not only because of the environment. We're in war right now because of gas. Let's stop pretending that it's about this or it's about that. We went into Venezuela, and as soon as Daisy Rodriguez said, "Here, I'll sell you 50 million gallons of petroleum a week. Leave me alone," we were happy with that. Let's stop pretending that we went
Okay.
in for regime change because there's been none. Let's stop pretending that we were in imminent danger by Maduro. He was a horrible dictator, but realistically, we were in. It was all about the petroleum. We're over there in Iran because of the petroleum. Let's stop pretending that we're trying to take out the regime. Yeah, we want to take out the regime, put a puppet like we have with the Shah of Iran, and then set our prices as how much we're going to pay you for for your
Yeah.
petroleum, which is why a lot of these countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and all of them, kicked us out of there because basically they say we'll sell you the petroleum, but our prices. Right
Yeah.
now, right now, the price of a barrel of oil is $110. Oh, it's 109 with 85. I'll give you the 15 cents. That's 110.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't give me that bullshit. It's 110 and it's going up. It's been going up for the last 3 weeks, and that and who's paying that? The whole world. And they're going to be so happy with us because they're paying more for petroleum. They're going to be so happy with the rest. Who's getting hurt with this? China. And let me
Mhm.
tell you one thing that is not going to be popular. We don't want a war with China. That is not a winnable war. We will take each other of us out. Both of us will be out. I agree. We'll wipe them out and they'll wipe us out. And
Yeah.
then that's not a victory. That's a defeat. So realistically, right now, the world is looking at us. You are right. This could start World War III. I meant it jokingly, but there is. It's in the news. There is two ships coming from Russia going to Cuba. Why
Mhm.
did I bring up in 24 that they send that out all these ships there? There was a submarine. There was this. They are still friends. And
Yes.
if you shoot at a Russian ship full of petroleum under Russian flag, that's an act of war under international law. Let's stop pretending that it isn't. It is. Oh, the Moron Doctrine is bullshit. That was something that a president made up and tried to say, this is what I want to do. That is not international law. You shoot at a Russian ship going in to sell petroleum to Cuba, that's an act of war. Period.
Yeah.
So that is what has me concerned. Because realistically, you could get away with that with Mexico. You could get that away with South and Central America. You could get away with that with France. You shoot a ship under a Russian flag with Putin, you're in war. Oh, we'll beat them. That's not the issue. We have annihilated all our allies. Germany, this is not our war. England, this is not our war. France, this is not our war. And I like the answer that was given by Italy, who they thought was going to be different. We were never consulted. But now you got the mess and you want us to get you out of the mess. You know, anybody who goes in there is going to be shot by other countries. And that's what they're trying to do is avoid it. It's your mess. You created it. You clean up. It's like my mother used to tell me, you made that mess, you clean up your own mess. Don't, I'm not going to help you. That was an all American expression. It's your mess, you clean it up. But it's going to be interesting. He has a point. This could create World War III. It could. I mean, as simple as these ships going right now to Cuba with Russian petroleum. And let me tell you, Putin is no idiot. He's doing this deliberately.
Sure. Yes.
And he said,
Very.
well, I just was going to help a nice country that's in a blackout because they don't have any petroleum. They have offered me to buy my petroleum for this price, and I'm willing to sell it because Cuba's never refused to pay for its petroleum. It's paid for it. From Mexico, from Venezuela, it's never been a gift. They paid for the petroleum. So what I'm trying to say is, yeah, Russia's saying, here, this is our price. You can have it. And by the way, when he lifted the embargo against Russia, it was entirely. So there is no restrictions. There's no embargo. There's no restriction. Okay, I'm going to sell to Cuba. Oh no, you can't. We have a thing because we're trying to starve them to death to give in, which is kind of an interesting way of doing business. How will we be critical if somebody else was doing that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But we're doing it, so it's okay. So that's okay. So you want to go to the fuck ups? Let's go to the fuck ups.
Let's go, Jimmy.
Okay. I'm going to start with the Republicans.
Okay.
You have allowed that the FBI director, the director of national security, and the director of CIA be cited to the Senate to answer questions. What the fuck did you expect them to ask them? We know that the week before the war, the things that they had sent from the National Security Advisory, National Intelligence Advisory Board had said that Iran did not represent an imminent threat to the United States. Yes, it did say Israel, but did not say United States. And that's what I think Kemp was trying to tell her. And she said, well, you're right, but who determines if it's an imminent threat is the president, based on your intelligence. So if he goes against your intelligence, is that it? I would have never allowed those three to go there. To explain why he flew a private jet to go to see a hockey game in Italy. The FBI director flew his private jet to go to see the game between Canada and the U.S. and to celebrate with the U.S. hockey team. Can anybody tell me what he was investigating there? He wasn't. But we spend our tax dollars money so this idiot can get on a plane and go and celebrate with this team. CIA was asked questions that basically he had to evade because basically he knew that the only thing he did say that I found interesting was that at that point they did not have on their radar in the CIA that the Iran government or people intended to target any U.S. Territory or any U.S. protective. There was no evidence of that currently. And that was a major screw up. Now, let's go to the Democrats. Democrats, your fuck up is half was said by David. One, you should be talking about affordability. I understand that affordability is an issue that when people pick up the pump and put it in their car and see they're paying 90 cents more a gallon, and then when 4 weeks ago they were filled a tank with 25 and now it's 50. Yes, I understand that. It speaks louder than anything that you could say. I agree with that. But you need to explain why. It is because of stupidity. This war, anybody who had two cells in their brain would know that taking on the Iran area and taking on Iran and bombarding their thing would cause them to deteriorate. In 1984, Ronald Reagan found that out the hard way, and you have not learned from that lesson. So that's what you need to be exposing. How this war is costing us lives, is increasing our prices, and has not made this area any safer. And I would be quoting in the words of a great Republican, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran since Iran did not pose an imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to the pressure from Israel and the powerful American lobby. That's what you should be putting in that every day. You might want to take out the part of the Israel lobby. You can take that out because I know you're afraid that some people might think that because you say that will make you, they will call you anti. I understand that. Just put there, the United States was not an imminent threat. The director of national security, Tulsi Gabbard, would not say that. The director of the CIA would not say that. Even the director of the FBI could not say that. The only person who thought that we were in imminent danger was Marco Rubio and Donald J. Trump and Netanyahu. And before the record, we could get to Netanyahu saying that Iran presented a threat to Israel since 1988 to present. That's something he's always said. The only thing is now he had a president who would go along with him bombarding that area. So that would be my campaign. Affordability, you can leave it up to the people. They're not stupid. They know. But you could say it's because of this unnecessary war that we're paying for. We were not attacked like in 9/11. We were not attacked like we were in Pearl Harbor. We decided to take our war there because of reasons that have not been explained to us today. With that, we are ready to tell you this. Subscribe. Your comments will be answered. I answer them always. Your likes or dislikes, I appreciate. If you think I'm wrong, I have admitted that sometimes I did not explain myself correctly, so I will do that. But most important, do me a favor. Spread the word. Tell your friends, hey, there's a crazy guy in Orlando, Florida, and you might want to see him because he has some crazy points of view that I think you may or may not like. And that is where it is. But most important, people, our enemy is not each other. It's not that if you're a liberal, it's not the MAGA. And if you're a MAGA, it is not the liberal. It is your House of Representatives, your Senate, and those in the White House who have lied to you to let you believe that they are not the elite that they are, that they're not the globalists that they are. You are being misinformed by the people who are using you to get rich. Those are your enemies. And these are the people you have to get rid of. With that, I will see you next week and have a great week, everybody.
Enjoy your weekend, Jimmy. Take care. God bless.
See you next week.
Indeed.
Okay.